1,000 words. This simple adage may be the difference between what makes you see the world a little bit differently. Art is everywhere you look. You may just not notice it yet. You don't have to be amazing artists to create art. All you have to do is create something. The sky is art, the grass is art, movies and TV shows are art, and even your face is a piece of art. Today, I will be talking about the type of art you can make yourself. I've been making paintings since I was around 7 years old, and over time my skills have progressed. I hope I can share with you what I've learned. I want to teach you today how to create a simple landscape painting for those of you who think you can't do art. I'm hoping that after today you will leave with a new sense of finding the little pieces of art in this world. So, first I'm going to tell you a little bit about the theory of art. So, in landscape paintings, there are usually three parts of it. There's the background, the middle ground, and the foreground. Background houses things like sky, clouds, middle is like hills and mountains, and fore is what the main topic of the painting is about. And then I'm just going to go over what I have here today. I have a white basic paint, a black basic paint, and a mixture of those two, which is like gray. And then in here I have my cup with water to rinse my brushes. I have this flat brush. This is the big flat brush. I used it to paint all of the canvases black initially. And then I have this fan brush. It's very thin and it's like a semicircle when it's like a little bit more dry. And then I have two smaller brushes. This is called the I call it the mini flat brush because it's basically a flat brush, just a lot smaller. And then this last one is called the filbert brush because it has a curved, it's hard to kind of see, but it has a curved edge on the top. And then, so yeah, I've created that vocabulary list so you guys can refer to that whenever I use a word and you don't understand what I'm saying. So we can start making our painting. One thing about doing these paintings is you can use a paper towel that I definitely had that you can use to make the background. So first you're going to take your paper towel and you're going to scrunch it up. And you will dip it into the white paint here. And you're using this technique to create sort of like a texture. The background of our painting is going to be like this foggy whiteness. You start in the middle and you'll dab around and create this outgrowth. Make sure to scrape off that excess paint before you go in because you don't want it to become too muddy. And then you can make it a little bit thicker as you get towards the middle to create kind of like a blend outward. Now today I have made 3 separate paintings with each of the layers. This is the background that I was talking to you guys about earlier. But you're going to want to make sure that every single layer is thoroughly dry before you move on to the next layer. I've already done my layers and dried them so I can show you guys and I don't have to waste any time. The next part you're going to do is you're going to actually use your brush. We're going to take this small brush and the black, and the first thing we're going to do is point where we want the horizon to be. So I'm kind of thinking I want the horizon to be right here in this middle, and the farther back you go, the more shadow and like depth it has. So you're going to take your mini flat brush, dip it in the black paint, and you're going to choose where the horizon will be. Here. And you're going to leave a little gap because this is where the foreground will come into play a little bit. You're going to bring your brush up like this, applying heavy pressure at the bottom and light pressure at the top to create kind of a blending outward. And then once you have that like mark of where you want the trees to go, you can go through and make it a little bit darker. Now I'm not going to spend too much time on making these trees because it's a very tedious process, and I don't have too much time, but I'll show you guys just the gist of how you can get the trees to look. Now that you have your black trees, done, you can take your brush and you're going to want to rinse it out really good because you want that contrast. You don't want those like muddy colors in between, and you're going to dry your brush off as well. Make sure you rinse it very well. And then you're going to go in with some of this gray. I have a very small amount because you only want a few trees to be gray. This is only to create that blend between the white and the black. You're going to take your brush and do the same thing, heavy pressure, and slowly get lighter as you get up to make that natural realism look. And you can make them overlap. You can create these layers. You're just going to do a few of them because you really don't want a lot of gray on this painting. Now, once you have your gray trees finished, you can take, I'm going to switch over to the filbert brush because you don't want to have all the trees look the same. You want to make sure that the difference between them is really noticeable, and you can see that the black trees are farther back in the distance, they're thinner, and then as you come up, they get a little bit thicker and create that depth in the painting. And I'm going to open my white, and I'm going to take this filbert brush and do the exact same thing, but now this filbert brush is a little bit thicker, so you're going to then again apply thick pressure and slowly move up. Now, this background is really difficult to see the white trees on, but on my next layer, it's a little bit easier to see. But you're going to do the same thing, and you're going to branch off the trees a little bit every so often. And you're going to do it on both sides as well. You really want these white trees to reach up into that black so that you can see the contrast between the two colors. Now, I'm not spending too much time on making sure the trees look great because I don't have too much time to show you guys. But once you have all of the trees finished, you're actually going to take your fan brush, and while this is still wet, you want to create this blend. There's a little part of the sides of this painting where the white turns more into foliage and bushes, and you're going to take this fan brush and create that. So you're going to kind of dry brush it a little bit. You don't want a lot of paint on your brush, and you're going to blend this white up into the trees and bring it down a little bit, blend it out. So it gives the appearance of bushes without actually adding any new color. Then, once you have all of that blended out, I'll remove this one. And this is what it should look like after you spend time working on those details. And then you can finally put your finishing touches on. I'm going to take the mini flat brush because that's thinner and it gives me more control. And I'm going to take the black, and you're going to start where you want your path, per se, to be. And as you can see, we left a little gap here, and you're going to start here. And to create that sense of depth, to see that you're looking back into the painting, you're going to make it thin up here and thick down here to make it look like the path is coming out towards you. And you're just going to create a small path as you would see in the forest. A lot of this is bases off like what you would see in real life. Then you're going to create the marks, and you're going to fill in the path here. And remember, it's really, really, really important to make sure that all of these layers are dry before you start going on to the next step, which is, this is the foreground that we're working on right now. You're going to make sure that path is completely dry before you do this black, or else it'll just become muddy. And that's how you do your full speech. Thank you for listening to my speech.